Hey, where's my channel changer? Does anybody know? It's right here. And my water glass needs to be filled. Hey, we got some new people here. It's good to see you guys. All right, so is it okay if we have fun tonight, or are you guys all real serious?
I don't know. Very serious.
I don't know. I was talking to Christonia a little earlier. It's just like, I love my job. I mean, it has its ups and downs, of course. She calls insurance companies and that crap. But this is like one of my favorite parts is teaching. And doctor means what? Teacher. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And this stuff isn't rocket science. Does everybody understand that? Okay, this is really quite simple. We'll get to that in a minute. Because everybody's been brainwashed the other effing way. Friggin'. That's what effing stands for, friggin', okay? I've been really good lately. I'm proud of myself. I dropped one F-bomb at the Elf Freedom Crusade last time. All right, so I got to actually speak. I did kind of some of this workshop at, does everybody know David Wolf, or does anybody know David Wolf? I spoke at his Longevity Now conference. That's when Pop was there. I was really stoked to be there. And then I also spoke at this Life Extension conference. And both groups were pretty good sized groups. There were well over 1,000 people. And the Life Extension was kind of a trippy place because these people are all trying to live forever, which I think is a great idea. I just don't know how well that's going to be, especially if everybody gets to live. But I don't think that's the way it's going to be, right? We know there's going to be a select few that will get to live forever. All right, we're not going to get into conspiracy theories tonight. So, medical science has made such tremendous progress that there is hardly a healthy human left. Especially with the recent cocktail. I'm trying to be good tonight because we're going live tonight. You know what the cocktail means? I don't know if I can do sign language with you guys, but that's what Peggy Hall uses, the cocktail. The cocktail, which is not really a real cocktail, it's a mRNA drug that changes your DNA. So literally people's DNA have been permanently changed. But it's just, like I met with Dr. Barkey. Does anybody know Dr. Barkey? He's part of the whole Children's Health Defense Fund. He's an MD. And we're going to collaborate together and work together on some stuff. Because he wants to get out of, like he basically last night, he said, and I've said this for years, that medicine is such a joke the way it's practiced today. And people actually go to doctors expecting to get what he doesn't want to give them anymore. I mean, he said he had somebody call up the other day and she had a sore throat and she wanted antibiotics. And he goes, why don't you just, take some vitamin C and tough it out, So I want to get together and work with him, and then I'm working with another lady. This is kind of exciting news, and we'll see what happens. So don't jump the gun or get too excited till it happens. As I always say, I'll believe it when I see it. That's usually about waves, though, because people will protect the surf that's going to be big tomorrow. Sometimes that doesn't happen, so I always say I'll believe it when I see it, like if I know too much. So there's a lady that wants to work together with us here and bring in some extreme biohacking equipment, which would include red light, CVAC. Those are all things that I feel, and then we obviously use more of the beamers and patches. And thank you for reminding me. We're having a patch workshop. What's the patch workshop? That's Thursday, April 20th, that's a national holiday, right? Did you guys know that?
My favorite.
It's one of my favorites too. Nobody gets hurt, right? So we're really trying to step it up with the other side a little bit, with getting some more adjunctive things going on here to really biohack you to live longer. Does that sound cool? Why are you looking at me like that?
Because I don't know what that means.
Biohack is things that you can do to your biology to stimulate a longer lifespan. So with everything like I'm going to go over. So there's a lot of biohack. It's just a term that, I don't know if Dave Asprey coined it, but it's just things that you can do to make yourself live longer, right?
To enhance your own life.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you. And Lynn works with me, so she's just making sure I'm not dropping any F-bombs tonight. All right, the power that made the body runs the body. So, first and foremost, I am 100% sold on what I do, and I mean, most of you guys that are here also follow along with that. It's basically the brain talks to the body through the what? Through the nervous system, and we're going to get into that big time tonight because there's so much stuff that's out there that I want to go over tonight that I don't really get to go over in the beginning workshop because I think it's a little bit overboard, but you guys are at least junior to sophomore level now, right? Everybody in here? Okay, good. The determinate causes of diseases are traumatism, obviously what would be auto accidents, snowboarding injuries, right? Sitting in a chair, which is microtrauma over time. Poison, yeah, a lot of that. We'll talk about that a little bit tonight. Like your water is the number one way you're being poisoned. And Festoni just got her new shower filter. She loves it, right? Yeah, so you got to at least clean your water in your house. Here's the thing, Nick, yesterday, you know, I always have water glasses everywhere in the office, right, you know? And then one of my favorite water glasses at the front, and I drank it, and I tasted it, and I go, shit, what water is that? It was tap water. I didn't know, but the thing is, once you get clean on your water, you're going to notice a huge difference, not only in the taste, but how it, you know, your skin and everything. Your skin's your biggest organ, so don't tell me you're eating organic, but then you're showering. I mean, it's shower filter's like cheap for what it does for you. You know what I'm saying? And if I didn't even have drinking water, I would go in the shower and clean my drinking water with that if that's all I had. That's how serious I'm about. Like when I go to restaurants, I do never, ever, ever drink the water there, unless they swear that they have water filtration. So the other poisons would be, well, we got a couple up there. What they spray in the sky, I know that's conspiracy theory. I think I told you that a long time ago. You all used to think it's just like we were talking about this today about Cal Jam coming up. We're trying to get a date for that still. That's another story. But, you know, and my friend Brad, who I met with last night with Dr. Barkey, because we're kind of doing some brainstorming together and keeping California free. How does that sound? Yeah. Or how about the world? All those places are good. But we talked about that, you know, people still think I'm crazy and nuts, but they used to really think I was crazy and nuts before with all my conspiracy theories. And like I've said before, I've had college presidents calling me, telling me I was hurting the image of the profession. I go, what image are you talking about? And telling me that my show was, you know, bringing down the profession, and I'm going, to me, it's I can't see what other people can't see. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you first on board, you didn't see it all, but you gradually over time, it's like you start to realize that, yeah, that stuff's going on. You know. So, and the other thing is be happy. One of the things I went over at a meeting yesterday was just gratitude. You know, you can think about how bad things are for you and stuff, and then I'll see somebody walking down the street homeless, and I go, you know what, you don't have it that bad. You know what I'm saying? And we've all got a lot to be grateful for. Like I don't know who I was talking to today, but you know, you could be in Ukraine getting bombed and stuff right now. So put things into perspective in life. I mean, we all have bad days. I'm the only one that has bad days once in a while. And it's usually when I don't get enough sleep is when I have a bad day, because then my disposition isn't really good. And your attitude is affected by your sleep. Okay? The preservation of health is easier than the cure of disease. Amen on that? Like people do that. They wait till they get sick, and then they spend all the time and money trying to get back to where they should be, when you should be doing that on a regular basis. Invest in the most important aspect in your life, which happens to be your health. And I like to even take that to the next level. Enhance your brain. So we're going to do a brain workshop in the near future too. Okay? We do have the cannabis workshop coming up. 4/18, not 4/20. All right. And I wrote this, and I think that's a howler monkey, a picture I took of in Costa Rica, hanging upside down, I hope. Okay. The human species has lost sync with the vibrational tones, cycles, and harmony of life in the universe. Humans aren't sick. It is just our bodies innate. Well, that's not spelled properly, is it? It should be bodies Y with an apostrophe S.
No, that's
No,
right.
that's right.
That's right? our body's innate adaptation to living outside the rules of universal intelligence. We are all just victims of our own self-inflicted toxic environment, whether it's like the three things we talked about, the traumatism or the thoughts or the chemistry. And and a way to look at that too is things that we do to ourselves that are not within sync with the universe are things that lower our frequency and decreases our lifespan over time. Okay? I'm going to keep it simple tonight. So, you guys have seen this a million times. We're going to hit it hard tonight. I'm basically going to give you a synopsis of all the workshops. Short one. Okay? The highlights. Is that cool? That way you don't have to go to them all. But you'll probably want to go to get the details. Okay? All right, so we're going to start with chiropractic. You all know what a subluxation is, right? Sub means less, lux means light, right? Okay, cool. You know that nerves go, you know why people come here. What do they come here for? They don't come here saying, Dr. Bill, I want to remove interference so I can express at 100% of my innate potential and then stop spinal degeneration. You come here with your ache or pain, and your ache or pain usually coordinates with some type of nerve that's being pinched, whether it's down your leg, into your feet, into your arm and hands, or up into your head, or along the shoulder. That's the way it is. You guys come in here, I listen to you, and I care. But the reality is the fire alarm is not the problem. What I want you to go home with is that the nerves run the organs. And the thing is, the more your body is working at a higher level, the longer your life's going to live as well. Or the longer your life is. Okay? And the other biggest thing that I try to get people to understand is that your spine and the mobility, we'll talk about this a little bit, but also the spinal degeneration factor. That is totally preventable. And one of the best ways to prevent that is by what? Drinking water, and then doing the collagen supplements if you can, and then moving. All right, research demonstrates adjusting the spine improves brain health. Okay, so you got all these little mechanoreceptors in your spine, right? Especially there's the highest density in your upper cervical spine. That's why when we adjust you, you're always typically going to get an upper cervical adjustment. Okay, C1, C2, or occiput C1. That's where those different mechanoreceptors are, and when those move, they fire the brain. Just like Joe Dispenza says, nerve cells that fire together, what? Wire together. It's the same thing with your brain. And also your posture, when you have hideous posture, that affects that neural feedback to your brain as well. But it's motion and alignment issues that contribute to super brain health. And I mean, to me, like, you might live a long time, but if you don't know who you are, or you know what I'm saying, it's super important that we work on brain health. And as I've mentioned many times in here, that's going to be heart disease, cancer, diabetes. All of those are going to pale compared to the amount of people with Alzheimer's. So I've really gone overboard, and especially, like I've said many times too, my mom was having issues, so that's why I've really kind of focused on, like I'm reading a book on Alzheimer's now. It's good, but it's not great, because I think he's got a lot of stuff wrong in there. And he doesn't talk about things like chiropractic and hyperbaric and things that I think are Beamer, or things that are really super important to add to it too. Okay? All right, so that's the number, probably one reason that I don't have any problems with job security. I don't think AI is going to take over chiropractic. You know, maybe they will. I don't know. But you've got to be cognizant of your posture at all times. And if you do have situations where you find yourself this is flexion, right? Everybody understands this is flexion, right? Everybody say yes. This is flexion. This is what? Extension. Okay, so we're going to, if you find yourself having to do that a lot, then we're going to do some extension to counterbalance that, right? Because some of us have jobs where you sit all day. That's why I make you lay down. I know somebody I had to talk, I think it was you guys talked about, you got to lay down before you get adjusted, because sitting is the new smoking, right? All right? That's a chair, okay? Another reason I'm in business.
Did you make that?
No, I did not make that. I found that.
I like that.
So remember these exercises?
Yeah.
So this is not using the towel like so I mean, the thing is, a lot of this is going to be reviewed for a lot of you, but how many people brush and floss? You do that so your teeth last a long time. Your teeth last a long time. You don't need to get. Like I said that to a younger girl today. I go, do you have a chiropractor? And she goes, no. I go, do you have a dentist? I go, yeah, I have a dentist. I go, what do you think's more important, your teeth or your spine? And she was thinking about it. I go, no, you can get false teeth. You can't get a false spine. So you've got to do these this is a reminder to all of you to do the exercises. This is probably one of the most important exercises you do. And then I think the dental roll is going to be second important. And then obviously you should all have what? A cervical pillow. Those things are all super important.
Hang your neck off the end of the bed.
And hanging your, thank you so much. All that stuff is something you can all do at home. Right on?
Yep.
Okay. So this was a study that came out. It was in PubMed, the impact of poggital sagittal balance in adult spinal deformity. Okay, so we'll go over the highlights of this research paper. This is the stuff I presented at those life extension conferences, okay? So the study showed a deterioration of health status with progressive forward head and body sagittal balance. So what they found out, well, let's read the next one. All measures of health status show significantly poor sources as C7 plumb line deviation increases forward of the sacrum, okay? So basically what they're saying is the further forward people go, especially with your head, your neck posture, and then everything. See, gravity's going to keep pushing you that way, right? And the further forward you go, the more it compresses the disc, puts stress on the disc, and then what does this disc grow then? Spurs, right? Which is spinal degeneration. So that's why the postural thing, that's why I want you to do those walks after you get adjusted, and that's why I want you to focus on doing the dental roll, hanging your head off the edge of the bed, because we need to, you know, like I've always said, you don't see people walking around like this when they get old. They're walking around in flexion. Like I just came to work and I was watching some guys struggle down the sidewalk, you know, walking. And usually a person's vitality and health as they get older is directly related to how good their posture is. Yes?
What does sagittal mean?
Sagittal means side view. Okay? The severity of symptoms increases in linear, which means the further forward you go, the worse it gets. You can just simplify that. The further forward you go, what? The faster you die, right? That's the bottom line. You're going forward and going forward and going forward, and then you get a walker, right?
The ground.
And the walker's there just to keep you out of that deep hole that you dug for yourself, okay? There was clear evidence of increased pain and decreased function as the magnitude of forward head body posture sagittal balance increased. Everybody understand that concept? So I'm just trying to reiterate things to get you to remind you to do the stuff that you need to do, which is stuff that you don't need me for. Okay? You don't need anybody's help to hang your head off the edge of the bed, right? Or do the towel extensions, or the prolordotic thing. I gotta order some more of those things. Okay? There you go. Moving it. The other one's sympathetic and parasympathetic balance, right? You guys remember that?
No.
Fight or flight versus
Rest and digest.
rest and digest, and I like to add procreate in there. I think there's a reason a lot of people have problems with fertility these days because they're stuck in sympathetic dominance. Just my theory. So sympathetic and parasympathetic responses to specific diversified adjustments to chiropractic subluxations of the cervical and thoracic spine. So what they showed, and that's why we do the HRV here, as you get adjusted, like I was talking to a new patient today, and MS runs in her family, but I bet your postural issues run in the family because like when you have forward head posture, what it does is it stretches your spinal cord, right? So when your spinal cord is stretched, it also stretches the outer sheath, which is called myelin. You guys know that, right? And that myelin will have a tendency to have deterioration due to vascular issues. And that's why people, I think, get MS. So by restoring that, you're taking tension. And then when you have tension on the spinal cord, it's going to decrease the amount of nerve flow you get through that spinal cord. Okay? And they've done studies where they objectively measure people pre and post adjustment. Like one of the best ways to do that is by adjusting someone, taking their blood pressure before and then taking it after. You'll see a dramatic decrease in most people's blood pressure after they get adjusted. Okay? You don't have high blood pressure because you have a shortage of lisinopril, right? You have it because of some type of stressor in your system that contributes to that physiology that raise that blood pressure up. Now, your blood pressure is here for a reason. The body's going, well, dude, you got the stress, we got to put it there. And taking the medication brings it down, but the body's going, no, we need it here, not there. That's why over time you have to take more and more blood pressure medication, okay? So we always like to find the cause of the problem, not just address the symptom. And a lot of it has to do with sympathetic dominance, because when you're in a sympathetic dominant state, that causes 85% of people's disease. And when you have disease, you die earlier, right? So everything from decreased immune function, which could cause things like cancer, to anxiety, sleeplessness. Sleep is huge for brain health, right? What else do we get from in-sympathetic dominance? Name some things. Cognitive issues. If a tiger is going to eat you, you're not concerned about, being remembering phone numbers and stuff and people's names. You're basically, I'm freaking going to fight the tiger, or I'm going to run, right? And all those things are healthy in a parasympathetic state, right? And your body will rebuild you in a better fashion in a parasympathetic state, because your body's rebuilding you continually. You have new stomach linings like probably every, 20 minutes or something. I mean, some people grow hair stuff too, but right. All right, so conclusion of the study requires randomized trials with the larger population receiving adjustments and with all participants being assessed with HRV recordings, because most of the subjects in the study exhibited normal reference ranges and parameters to study. Future studies should also include subjects with predetermined dysfunctional autonomic tone. I basically said that in kind of a more understandable way. Okay, so sympathetic, fight or flight, protection, survival, stress response, adrenal stress, fatigue, all those things are caused. And then we want to be in this state most of the time, which is rest, digest, relax. Growth, like I said, you're building yourself back healthier than before. So premature aging is caused by being in look at people that are stressed out all the time. They basically prematurely age. So we want to reverse that and slow down the aging process of promoting longevity, right? Bruce Lipton again. You can't be in growth and protection at the same time. All right, telomeres. Everybody knows what telomeres are. The ends of those little DNA things, and like what happens as we get older, it's like a shoestring. They start to fray on the end. And you want to kind of put the cap back on the end of the shoestring. You know what I'm talking about? And you can do that many ways. And one of the ways, recent first documented evidence of increased telomere length following chiropractic. So again, this study needs to be elaborated on. But I've known that too for years, that I see it so much in my practice, especially with immune dysfunction. I hear people all the time saying, everybody at my work is getting sick but me. And I go, well, that's because you're getting adjusted and they're not. But if we could somehow prove this, I already know this, because the number one factor that probably increases premature aging in humans is the fact that spinal degeneration is a huge factor in lowering your expression of who you are. Okay? How about the effects of spinal or specific upper cervical adjustments on CD4 counts of HIV? So they did a study on AIDS patients who have weakened immunity, and they adjusted some of them, and then what they did on the others, they gave them a placebo adjustment, and they saw that in the adjusted group, we saw an increase upwards of 400% in immune function, and then obviously they didn't get the same results in the placebo group. They had, maybe some of them got a little bit better because they thought they were doing better. So if we can raise immunity, we can prevent things like some of the biggest killers out there, which is cancer, right? You could stop this phobic scam out there, which is COVID. You could, all disease really, it has something to do with your immune system. So if we can increase immune expression by removing interference. And so I'm just saying there's research out there to show the stuff that I've been talking about. And then inflammation. In chiropractic care, decrease inflammatory markers. So yeah, I'm one of those guys that likes to do blood tests. I would like to do it more often. I just got to find time to do it. But just looking at your blood to see what's going on in your body and then you can address things. Like I was a little low on sodium once, and I was glad I figured that out, you know, because I had some stress going on in my life. Does anybody ever have stress in their life? Or somebody else? No? Never, okay. But if we could decrease the inflammatory markers, again, that's 85% of disease also happens not only in a sympathetic dominant state, but it also happens in a pro-inflammatory state, right? So, and we'll get to other things that you can do to lower those inflammatory markers other than chiropractic. Cool? All right, cool. So one of them is eat better. So this workshop, how many people went to this workshop? Did you guys learn some stuff? No? Well, you already knew it all,
Oh, really?
right? You should have taught it. So, I mean, in fact, I cooked dinner for Dr. Barkey and Dr. Glowacki last night, and it was a carnivore diet. It was, but I had my magic dessert at the end, which everybody that eats it says it's the best dessert they've ever had in their entire life, because it is. Okay, and I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you the truth. Okay. But it comes down to this. It's if you think it's the best diet for you. I mean, there's some reality. I mean, you can't eat a bunch of crap and think it boils down to this: stop eating crap. I mean, I know some people that are vegans that they think that's the best diet for them. Then it is the best. And there's different. Obviously, I think there's different body types. I would love to reread that book, which I read many years of. Eat for your blood type. Eat for your blood type. Yeah. And I think if people just started eating whole foods and stopped eating garbage and trash, I mean, that is one of the things I'm like super strict on is eating food. Because I'm going to admit it, I went out and had pasta last week, and the next day I felt like living crap. I think the problem with going and getting super clean, like with clean water, and you go stay at a hotel and you take a shower in chlorine gas, you can smell it. I mean, it's so bad. And then if you eat something that lowers your frequency, but kind of reiterate what's in that diet. So carnivore hybrid diet, and that's what I call it, the carnivore hybrid, because I'm not eating just meat, because I can't eat 2.5 pounds of meat a day. I'm not. I had a half pound of halibut for lunch today, and I haven't been eating breakfast during the week. I do the intermittent fasting, and it works great for me. I don't get hungry, but I do a little coffee in the morning, and then I do that lemon. You guys know the lemon vinegar drink that I do with BioSil. Today, do you guys know today's National Vitamin C Day? Does anybody care? Dr. Barkey told me that last night. And you were the one that saying you're sleeping better? Somebody said from the diet, from the carnivore diet. No, that was Scott. He's supposed to be here tonight. That's the number one thing I felt from this. And then I was just telling the girls up front, my brain fog is like half what it used to be. I mean, I'm remembering things that blow me away. Not always perfect, but it's way better than it was. But I think it's partly, where is it? I'm sleeping better. Does it say sleep up there?
Nope.
No, it doesn't. I'm sleeping way better, and I think I'm attributing to this. I can't blame it on anything else. And that has also helped me with my brain fog. My energy's good. My immunity's always been good. And I think that's, again, because I get adjusted at least 2 or 3 times a week. That sounds excessive. Well, no, it's not excessive. It's just I want to run at 100% of my potential, right? These are the books that kind of led me down that path. I mean, I want you guys to read and make your own educated decisions on what you want to do. That's the whole thing, is I'm here to teach you. And you guys get it, or you wouldn't even be here. That, the system's screwed up. I want you to understand and think for yourselves, right? That's the whole thing. Doctor means teacher, but teach you guys how to be your own doctors. This is books about lectins, right? And I was like, I love tomatoes, man, and I'll still eat one once in a while, but I'll feel it when I do it. You know what I really love? Is eggplant. And I really feel that. Those are the nightshades. They're loaded with lectins. And then when I was in Costa Rica, I started this diet down there, and I was eating fruit every day, and then I was eating whatever. I was eating a lot of eggs and bacon, and the steaks there sucked, okay? But I did eat the ground beef that they had, which is grass-fed. And I literally could surf for 5 or 6 hours, and I noticed I wasn't having all the aches and pains that I typically have. And I've noticed that so much more. And then I had Abby tell me tonight, since she cut out all the oxalates in her diet, that she just feels way less spinal pain than she had before. So what I'm saying is that you don't have to do it, but if you've got specific issues, just why would it hurt to try it? You know? And I would rather eat berries and papayas and mangoes and apples and bananas than broccoli. Anybody else on that page? Kale. I never got it. I don't get it. Okay. I mean, I like the kale at True Foods, but I like the sweet potatoes better. So I usually get the sweet potatoes. So I was literally poisoning myself by using turmeric. I was juicing turmeric every day. So I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons I'm doing so much better, is because, and I'm not saying turmeric's bad, but in high doses, like I was chewing handfuls of turmeric and juicing it. So, and then I read how much oxalates are in there, and I love spinach. It was hard for me to give that up. And then I was reading some article about some guy that was putting spinach in all of his smoothies, and he ended up getting kidney stones at like age 27. So the more oxalates you have, and I think this is one of the issues I see so much. I've always wondered why some people have so much spinal degeneration compared to other people. Like their bones look like they're growing together, and I think it has a lot to do, obviously, with diet, lack of hydration. College is going to help with that. Pre-injury, like subluxation, which, like, I've got a perfect X-ray of it before and after that we took yesterday. The thing is, what people don't understand is that when their spine's out of alignment, it's going to heal that way, and we caught it early enough that we took it, and it was like significant scoliosis, and now it's like perfectly straight. That's because, yes.
What are oxalates?
Oxalates are chemicals. Okay, I think the next slide will go over this. Oh, that's me. And it's almost time to start planting again. I just always loved that plant. I mean, I don't even smoke pot anymore. I will have a cannabis beer. I did one last night. But I've just thought it was one of the most beautiful plants, and there's just so many benefits to it. Again, this is where I might break the rule because it's actually a leaf. But actually, if you're using the fruit, which is the bud, then you can probably get away with it. But I've always been into growing things, as a kid. Like as a kid, I'm trying to legitimize why I grow pot. I used to grow corn, and I used to, like, when I lived in Nebraska, I'd grow corn and pumpkins and squash and tomatoes. I always loved just watching things grow. And then when I was 21, I had that 2-bedroom house that I converted into a grow room. And if I would have got caught, I'd probably still be in prison right now. That's how stupid I was, okay? And then one room was the pot, and then the other closet was the mushroom closet. Okay? So everybody invited me to all their parties. So yeah, I enjoyed, and I'm just love watching it grow. It's an amazing. I mean, has anybody else ever grown it before, or am I the only one that's sticking their foot in their mouth? Okay, we'll move on. Okay, so yeah, I have a whole line of cannabis products which the number one way to lower inflammation, in my opinion, naturally, is by taking CBD or CBD products. So if anybody wants any, we've got these little 250 milligram things. I'm getting rid of for $25 tonight if you guys want them. I got some stuff on special for you guys tonight. Okay? And the other thing I wanted to touch on was, see, there's slides missing again. So the plants, to answer your question, which was in there and it's gone, this happened with the Freedom Crusade too. There were slides that I wanted to go over, so I'm glad you asked that question. So the plants don't want to get eaten, right? So they can't run away. So what they do is they put toxins in themselves to deter animals like human beings from eating it. It's just we've been more conditioned to eat that stuff than not eat it. This is theory, of course. The leaves, because the leaves extract the sunlight, right? They don't want the leaves eaten. The stems, they don't want the stems eaten, and they don't want the roots eaten, right? Because that's where they're getting water and sustenance from the soil. And they don't want, most of all, the seeds eaten, right? Because the seed is their next generation of offsprings. But what they do is the plant will make a beautiful fruit, okay, whether it's an apple or a banana, and make it attractive to the eye. And also, when you eat it, you'll be spreading the seeds around, okay? Everybody good with that? And sometimes if you eat the seeds, the seeds will actually come out in its own little plum of fertilizer, right? So, those plants. So in the book, he recommends against eating. Stop eating what? Sugar, right?
Spinach.
Well, yeah. We'll get, there's a more comprehensive thing.
Berries? Was there something?
What's that?
Was it a berry?
Was it?
Berry, blackberry, one of those?
Blackberries are a little high. I still eat them though. You want to keep your oxalates, which are chemicals, under 250 milligrams a day, according to the book. Okay? So you can eat some. You just can't do turmeric, overdosing on turmeric or spinach, okay? So there's 4 things you shouldn't eat. One is high fructose corn syrup or sugar, okay? The other one's artificial sweeteners. And a big thing that a lot of people is seed oils, okay? And the 4th one he recommends is not eating vegetables and focus on fruit. Yes?
Is avocado oil considered a seed oil?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't know.
Because I think it'd be more of a fruit oil because they're not
It
getting
is
it.
expensive
They're not getting
to
it from the
seed.
seed. They're
It's
getting it
not.
from the fruit.
Oh, they do.
Like an olive is not a seed oil. Okay, and think of like flaxseed and linseed and what's that?
Sunflower?
Yeah, sunflower. All that. Good point. Okay,
Sesame.
sesame seed oil. Very good, class. Well, what else is there? You guys are helping me right now.
Soy.
This slide here is to show you got to find something in your life that you love to do that is good exercise. To me, there's nothing better as far as an exercise and fun at the same. Well, there's other things. Can't talk about those here.
Is that you?
What's that?
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, can't you tell that?
Is that Hawaii?
No, that's Fiji. Cloud break.
Cool.
Yeah. That's my Kelly Slater imitation. Billy Slater. So find some, and so the waves have been right, Victor? They've been pretty bad lately.
I haven't been surfing.
And the water was 53. I knew it. I go, that wind tomorrow, it's going to be like 52 or 50. It was 53 when I called the report today. It's got to be pretty
That's cold.
friggin' good to go out in 53 degree water.
I've been
It's like,
biking.
yeah. But so what I've been doing a lot lately, and in fact, I'm trying to figure out who wants to go with me to Mammoth this weekend. You want to go? Oh, you're going to be gone. If anybody wants to go to Mammoth with me, I need a co-pilot. So snowboarding. So whether it's walking or golf, really not a high intensity. And but over the weekend, I've done 2 beach workouts where I just go run in the sand, or do pull-ups or push-ups. So that I feel like eating's important, but I think exercise is more important than that, right? Does everybody agree on that? Okay. But they're all important, right? So if you do them all, you're going to get the benefits, and you're going to what? You're going to live longer. And Joe and I are going to Costa Rica next month. We're going on a vacation together. So.
Because you guys don't see each other now?
Huh?
Because you guys don't
Well, no, it's just like, but you like to share experiences like that with. Like he's been on a couple boat trips with me in Indonesia.
No, that sounds great.
Yeah, and his kids are going, which is great. So we'll have a great time. We're gonna go surf the longest left in the world, which I was there. I've been there. I was there 2 times last year. All right, let's talk about hyperbaric. I'm also going to do a quick video on this, not tonight, of course, but I want to get people to. That was being totally underutilized over there, and somewhere I was reading this, and I probably screw this up because I didn't even think about talking about it. But they said in biblical times people lived a lot longer. Did you guys know that? Because they probably didn't have all the toxicity. But they also had air to breathe. The air today is half the density of oxygen that it used to be. So, and oxygen's important for you to, like most microbes don't like oxygen. Cancer doesn't like oxygen. So I think a lot of the reasons we have people get sick is because of a low oxygen concentration in the air that we breathe. Plus there's other pollutants in the air as well. So I bought this for me. and then we add the oxygen concentrator to take it to the next level. And I mean, like Dr. Barkeever last night was going, what can you treat with it? Like, it doesn't really treat anything. What it does is just upregulates your mitochondria to make more what? Energy, and just raise your frequency, right? And part of the whole aging process is that as we age, we have less and less energy because of the mitochondrial dysfunction. And I mean, there's a lot of research out there that shows that, I'm not saying we're treating cancer, but we're, again, upregulating the body to have higher immunity and develop its own natural response. See, the medical models, let's go kill the cancer. No, what we're going to do is upregulate the body so the body can kill it. I mean, the power that made the body heals the body, right? So it's going to, your body, the thing I try to get people to understand, dudette. Your body made you from a sperm cell and an egg cell. It knows what the F it's doing. You just need to provide it with what it needs. And sometimes if you have a deficiency in oxygen, and part of the reason can be not only the air, but it could be a lack of breath, right? Like I was talking to another patient today that has asthma. So a lot of issues as far as her low energy could be attributed to the fact that she doesn't get enough oxygen to her cells, okay? So the importance of oxygen. Oxygen is the fuel required for the proper operation of all body systems. Without it, we survive for just a few. So you can live how many minutes without oxygen? 4. You can live 7 days without water. You can live 40 days without food. About 75%, this is an interesting concept, 75% of the oxygen we breathe is used for brain function alone. The remaining 25% goes first to the vital organs and then extremities of the body. Oxygen feeds the body, supports the immune system, helps destroy toxic substances, and promotes new cell growth. Anaerobic bacteria, fungi, and viruses, and cancer all have one thing in common. None of them can survive in a highly oxygenated. So, I mean, I bought that for me, not because I was treating anything. I bought it because I wanted to upregulate, and I wanted to prevent, number one, I wanted to prevent brain issues. Because I think that's one of the main. Yeah, most of brain issues happen from type 3 diabetes, which is vascular issues to the brain, right? So has anybody ever seen somebody that has really bad diabetes and they lose circulation to their feet, right? Somebody ever seen that before? Like my grandfather had that issue. He also lost circulation to his eye and lost his vision. Okay. He got so bad we had to amputate his feet. But he was a foodaholic. He just ate too much crap, but he made it all. He was a chef. You guys know that, right? That's why I'm such a good cook. Okay, I am. I'm a really good cook. And it's not hard. It's just you have to know how to put foods together that taste good. What else is going on here? So, hyperbaric oxygen therapy heals wounds, and it does that by reversing hypoxia. Hypoxia is a fancy word for what? Not getting enough oxygen to where it needs to go. That's why the beamer's not there, but sometimes the beamer is there. The beamer opens up all that microcirculation as well. So that's part of the things I do. Like I've got a very strict, and I need to get stricter on getting in the hyperbaric myself. The problem is you got to be in there for an hour. So you got to figure out things you can do. Like when I go in there, I meditate and do beamer at the same time. But at night I do the beamer to sleep and do prostate stuff, okay? And then in the morning I do stuff to bring me back to higher energy, and then I do it on my brain. I do it to just increase the oxygen flow to my brain, increasing lifespan. Got it? Decreasing inflammation. We already talked about that. That's another reason people get sick. Fighting infection. Like I had a lady get in there yesterday. She's been having this cough for, I don't know, like 3 weeks. And I said, get in the hyperbaric. Probably kill that stuff. And one thing that a lot of people don't know is that it increases exponentially the endogenous production of your own stem cells. So again, those stem cells are helping you regenerate your body in a healthier state as well, promoting more longevity. Regenerating and revitalizing tissue, no matter where they are. Healing benefits of hyperbaric slows cancer growth. That's this stuff to me, the CBD stuff. That's part of like at night, I go to bed, I do the Serenity. I got the capsules here. They're $26. I'm selling them for $20. These are usually 30, 25, $20 just to get $25. So I do CBD before bed. In fact, I work on a company trying to develop this new sleep product that's amazing. I'll do some CBD in my submucosal area and just put that there for a while. I will do my Serenity on my head and my brain. And I also, like Suzanne showed me, on my big toe, right? And then I also do it over my heart. And what else do I do? Oh, I have my chamomile tea, okay? And then I do my calm before bed, and that's my regimen. In the morning, I just do the reverse opposite. I do the espresso in the morning, and then I go, and it's a good time right now to do cold showers. It's yes, it just wakes you back up, dude. It's like so invigorating. It's so worth it once you get used to it. And you'll get used to it. In fact, you'll crave it when you get up. I can't wait to get in that cold shower right now.
Question.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name when you are in tight spaces and
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobic. How do you overcome that with this thing? Because that's what.
Take a bunch of Xanax.
There's a little window there too for you to look out when you're laying down.
Yeah, you should try it sometime. And the thing is, it's like also what I would do if you're really claustrophobic, just wear like one of those sleeping eye masks. That's what I do. And I don't do it because I'm claustrophobic. Because I go in there with the beamer. You're not going to get to do that. I can only do that. The beamer, and then I do, it's called napitate, which is you're meditating, but it eventually turns into a nap. So, and then when you come out, you feel so revivified. New capillaries. I talked about the stem cells. So, again, as your brain ages, you're going to lose those capillaries. But if we can grow new capillaries, and you can grow new capillaries to everywhere in your body, you're just keeping your body rich in oxygen. We don't care about this one because none of us are going to do chemotherapy drugs. At least not around here, I hope. Increased survival rates of patients with metastatic cancer by 77% when combined with a ketogenic diet. So a ketogenic diet is going to be mostly what? Protein and fat and really low in carbs. We already talked about this. Promotes new nerve growth in the brain, reduces radiation-induced inflammation. We're not going to do that either because you guys know better than that. Stimulates oxygenation, that's obvious, and it supports wound healing. Okay? These are symptoms. List of conditions. And that looks like that got screwed up when I transferred it there. Aging, Parkinson's. That got really screwed up. So what I started doing was taking pictures. I've actually got good at making these PowerPoints. I put this together in about an hour and a half today. That one got screwed up. Smoking. So if you smoke, it's good to get in there, okay? I had a patient, yes, where is it? Lyme's disease is a big one. I think we had that testimony from that little kid that was autistic where his mom, they referred him from another chiropractor. And she said like after his first run in the hyperbaric that he was speaking better. His teachers all at school knew he was different just from one session. Yeah, and not everybody's going to have the same response. It's like everything else, okay? It's just like the patches. Sometimes I put the patches on, people are like, oh my God, it's like, it's like with chiropractic too. You know, I don't get it. What else would it's Alzheimer's is the main reason. I think cancer, like we did that testimonial with Al, who was like his PSA, his prostate serum antigen was like at over 6,000 because he had metastatic cancer from his prostate. And he was doing that, the beamer getting adjusted, and it went down. And then he was doing the cannabis suppositories, so you don't get high if you don't want to get high. Yes.
Are you recommending something specific on the prostate cancer?
I would definitely would do the suppositories if it was me, and then I would do the hyperbaric, and I would do the beamer over the prostate area. I would do the ketogenic diet, all that stuff. Those would be, and I would do the breathwork stuff too. Like I would do Wim Hof every day. I had Al doing Wim Hof too. He wasn't as good about that as I thought he should be, but it's free. You know, why wouldn't you do it? And I can talk to you about other stuff we can do afterwards too. You got to be really clean with your food. You got to cut all the carbs out, really, in my opinion. And then this is what, grounding. Okay, like I went running with somebody the other day. They wore their shoes on the beach. I go, why are you wearing shoes? She goes, well, I always wear shoes when I run. I go, well, why would you want to touch the planet, especially the beautiful sand at Newport Beach? Some of the nicest sand in the world is there. Because that frequency, right, is the Schulman frequency, which is 7.83 hertz. And that's what the beamer does. It's basically just a vibrational tone that shakes things up to increase that microcirculation so you can get the blood where it needs to go. And the other thing the hyperbaric does is that pressure will actually push the blood into tissues that's having a hard time getting that blood. So, and that's why that pressure will also decrease the inflammation, because it's that pressure on it, right? And when you get angiogenesis, you're getting new vascular development. That's another way of getting more blood to wherever it needs to go. You guys know my feeling on the EMF stuff, right? We were in my garage last night because it was cold outside. Did you guys know it was cold last night? And we were doing bad things in the garage. Smoking a cigar. I know I'm not perfect, okay? In fact, yeah, go ahead and hit her. It's okay, you have a cigar once in a while. Me, Dr. Barkey, and Dr. Kowalski. It's celebratory cigar. But we were in my garage and they were trying to use their phones and go, my phone doesn't work in your garage because my whole house is EMF proof. Which has its detriments when there's people. Well, it's not a detriment to me. So, and then your computer's not going to work in there either. You're not going to get any Wi-Fi. But I mean, that's how crazy. I mean, I just recently got. I feel like a sellout, man. I really am. I'm so sorry. I actually recently got a cell phone so I could use that. I know it's horrible. Don't anybody kill me, I know. Because I got that stupid Aura ring, right? And then I started having a cell phone around. And then I went on that Costa Rica trip, and literally you cannot travel without a phone anymore. It's impossible. Unless you go with other people. And they sent me I didn't have any way of getting an email down there. They sent me an email that your flight was canceled. You need to be on the earlier flight. Thank God I got to the airport early enough to catch the flight they were talking about. And they weren't going to let me on the flight. I mean, it was like an 8-man plane, and the plane was like from here to there. And they go, you have to be here an hour early. I go, well, the plane's not leaving for another 20 minutes. How long does it take me to walk over there and get on that friggin' plane? And they go, sir, you have to be here early. And then I pulled out $40, and I go, will this get me on the plane? And they said, yeah, that'll get you on the plane. Those are called green Band-Aids. It fixes everything, especially in Latin America, okay? So any way you can minimize that stuff. I mean, I know it's hard, man. It's really super hard to stay away from that stuff. But try to minimize any electrical stuff in your room. Yes?
Do you know of a company that will go to your house to help you kind of minimize?
Yeah, my friend.
Oh.
Doug. That's what he does. He'll come over and assess everything. Like, you'll do a pre and post assessment and you'll see a major difference.
Okay. So.
And the thing is, you do that, you're going to have way better sleep. I think a lot of people's sleep issues, insomnia, and tinnitus, and headaches, are all because of EMF. And cancer! So we talked about Wim Hof. That's the breath work. I'm going to teach a breath workshop. I need to go back into my library, which is the biggest mess you've ever seen. There's like freaking books everywhere. Seriously. And I got to go try to find the breath work. And sometimes I go, you know what, it'd be cheaper for me to buy another one than try to look for it. Do you guys ever think that way? Because what are you worth an hour? I know I'm worth more than $20 an hour. I can buy that stupid book. It'll probably take me an hour to find it in there.
Is that what happens when you have a really cold shower?
What's that?
All over his face?
Yeah. Now sometimes at Mammoth I get that way, and I like to feel alive. You know, when you're cold, you feel alive, right? So you guys know how to do the Wim Hof stuff? Okay, you can go on YouTube, or I can teach you to later. I don't want to get into that right now. What's that? And then also the 478. I taught you how to do that yesterday. That's the best. Like if you're like in more of a sympathetic state, you can really chill yourself out by doing that. So I do that. So I do Wim Hof in the mornings to get me invigorated, and then I'll do the 478 before bed. And you'll do 478, and I'll typically fall asleep on the beamer, on my back with my cervical neck thing, with my knees propped up, and I'm religious about this stuff on my beamer, and I'll sleep that way for 3 or 4 hours, and then I'll wake up, use the restroom, and come back and lay on my side. Have a little bit of my chamomile tea if there's any left over. Okay? But I really want to get into the breath work and teach you guys that stuff eventually too. I did a workshop with another lady, but I want to expound on that a little bit. Okay, sleep. When's the sleep workshop? Because a lot of people have been asking for that one. Does anybody here have issues with sleep other than me? No?
What would be issues?
You don't sleep.
My issue was that there's a lot of rodents in my brain all the time. Gerbils, yeah. Because I know way more than I want to know.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But you do the 4-7-8, you lay on the beamer, you do the chamomile tea, yes. Oh, it's, okay, I'll just teach you this one. It's really simple. I have a electric clock next to my bed on batteries, okay, because we don't have any electrical cords, right, in our room, except for the diffuser. And I hear the click, 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 so I'll breathe in for 4 seconds. You can try this with me, everybody. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Then you hold it for 7. And then you blow out for 8. Got it? You do that. You can do 20, 25 reps of that, and then you're just going to be like, la la la. Okay. Plus, it quiets the gerbil brain, because when you're thinking and you're doing the counting. So what I will do is I will do the 4 seconds, and then I do the 7 seconds breath hold, and then I'll breathe out, and then at the same time I'm breathing out, I do my gratitude list, what I'm thankful for today. Okay? Right? Okay? And that will help you get to sleep. So, you gotta have, in my opinion, you should sleep on a cervical pillow if you're gonna sleep on your back, which is what I think would be the best position for you to sleep in, and then the ones we have are good for side sleeping as well. We talked about that. There's a whole even sleep mode on the beamer, which I need to do more often than I do, but they don't want you to do it like every day. You should do it intermittently. But that's the main reason I bought this, because when I first started laying on, when Anthony was teaching or trying to get me to buy one, is I would keep falling asleep on it every time he did it. So, and it also helped with some prostate stuff I had going on. Tips for healthy sleep: stick to a sleep schedule. That is like my number one go-to. If I stay up too late, I have a hard time sleeping. If I go to bed between, I know some of us go to bed earlier, right? Between 11 and 12, I'm good. Ultimately, I like to get to bed at 10:30, and then I like to read a book. Not something invigorating like that COVID-19 book that I've been reading that just like gets me so pissed off that these guys get literally killing people on the planet. Exercise is great, and that's the other thing for me. When I work out or surf, I sleep way. Is everybody true with that? Good with that? Way better. This is my biggest friggin' problem right here. Friggin', I love friggin' coffee. I did it the other night. Where was I? It was like 5 o'clock, 5:30. I think I was going to stay up late anyways, and I said, okay, I'll just have a cup of espresso and put myself up. I was up till 5 o'clock in the friggin' morning, man. I just never seem to learn. I don't drink, so that's not a problem for me. Avoid large meals, beverages late at night. Yeah, you don't want to eat too late. We don't have any medications in here. Don't take a nap after 3. That's another one that kills me. If I sleep, I take a nap, I'm done. I think just building a sleep sanctuary, which I teach you, right? Get all the electrical crap out of your room. If you're going to use your computer, there's that mode that I can teach you about that makes your screen light not blue, it makes it red. I forget the name of it, but it's on this computer. We'll look later if
You
anybody's
can just
interested.
Google it. All the computers have it.
They do?
Yeah. You can put it. You can just download it, and it'll put it on there.
What's the...
I don't know. You just put like blue light at night or whatever it is. red
Yeah,
light
but
at
there's a
night.
specific app that I've been using. And I don't look at my computer. That's why I like to read a real book. Okay? I don't take hot baths before bed. My bedroom is dark and I wear a mask, okay? And then what I do as part of my religious activities in the morning is that I go, this is before the cold shower, I'll go out and sit in the sun and get some vitamin D on before I'd only have about 15 minutes on my work days, but sometimes I'll stay out there half an hour and have my espresso. And don't lie in bed awake. If you can't sleep, I think it's better to just open a book and sit in there, because when you try to fight it, and I don't have these problems anymore like I used to, I'm serious. And I don't know if it's the diet or whatever. I don't know what it is. I think it is. And then we're having another women's health workshop. I think a lot of you guys get butchered. You do. You guys got targets on your boobs, and you got targets on your reproductive systems and stuff. It's like, so we teach you how to navigate that jungle, especially what? The mammograms, right? So I think, what did I say the next term is? Was it 820? Thermography. So this is a better way of assessing your breast health than a mammogram, and it will determine, you'll be able to see breast cancer 8 years before a mammogram will. And then mammograms potentially cause more cancer.
Yeah.
And then they detect, and mammograms potentially metastasize cancer by compression and breaking the tumor, because cancer is the cure. The body puts the tumor in a little tumor like that to prevent the cells from spreading to the rest of the body. And then we do crazy things like pressing it with 64 pounds of pressure, or biopsies.
Yeah.
And, like I've always said, I think the cure kills people faster than the cancer. Like with prostate, I think any dude walking around past their 70s is going to have some degree of prostate issue, including prostate cancer. I think the fact that they get diagnosed and they get the treatment.
So what do you do with it?
Do stuff that I taught you to do, just the suppositories, the hyperbaric, and not worry about it, not let them butcher you and do all the stuff that they want to do.
Hemers are excellent because you're going to get that blood flow.
What's that?
Hemers are excellent.
Yeah,
because
of
you're gonna
course.
Get that blood
Right.
flow. I've watched it time and time again.
Yes.
How often do you suggest getting?
Well, it depends on what you got going on.
Well, I mean, just like.
Okay, so the thing is, if you came up and you had something that was, like, we rate them in different levels. Like, if you had something that was extremely, like, concerning, we would probably do it more frequently than if your breast looked great. And if you had something that looked concerning, like if we saw, this doesn't really show it, but like if we saw a hot spot right here, because what cancer is, it's a highly metabolic disease that needs a lot of sugar. So what it does is it creates its own, it's called angiogenesis, it creates its own vascular tissue to feed the tumor. That's what shows up on this, because it's going to show up hot, and you're looking for any type of asymmetry, okay?
But just for someone just to, like, let's just say I got this done. And
Yeah, if you got it done and you look great, you probably do it once a year.
Once a year, okay.
It's like, how often do they recommend mammograms these days? It used to be every year, but then they realized, well, shit, we're causing a lot of cancer. We better cut back on that, you know. There's no side effects to this. I mean, you're not getting any radiation. It's just measuring the temperature on the breast, okay?
So does this company come here and do it?
Yeah, they come here.
Okay.
It's a friend of mine. She's Claire O'Neill. She's a chiropractor and thermologist. I mean, I wish more people utilize that. To me, it's like such a great tool. And like the other day, we only had like one patient here. It sucks. Okay. Do you do it at your Nirvana?
No, we don't, because we don't have a place that's cold enough. We can't.
Well, why don't you send them over here?
I do.
Okay,
I
good.
do. I line them up.
Yeah, because Deb's your friend, right?
I do.
All right, and then you got to do the detox. How many people went to the detox workshop? Yeah, Kurt and I. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit. Kurt's a little bit more rigid with his stuff. He's already in the parasite cleanse of it, and this guy's doing amazing. I mean, right? I mean, your health's totally turned around from where you're at when you came in, and I can't take any more. He's done all the work. He's been very diligent and disciplined, and you got to, if you do this stuff, it works. And I don't know if maybe that's part of the reason my brain's a little better too. You know, because you're less toxicity. But I'm still in the first phase because I get home late at night and I go, I'm not taking that because there's that ADP stuff in here, which is supposed to naturally increase your energy. I don't want to take that right before bed because I stay too late because I talk too much. Okay, let's get done. Signs you need a detox: dark circles under your eyes, headaches, constipation. I mean, to be honest with you, everybody needs a detox. That's the way it is, you know. Some people need to detox more than other people. I mean, if you have a shitty diet or what else would cause that? You don't get enough exercise, or you're not healthy. Just do it. Do the sauna, right? I'd love to have a sauna here too, but I just don't want a bunch of sweaty people here. Okay. I would love to do the cold immersion here too. You know, that would be great, but I just don't, I'm trying to figure out a way to do it without just, well, maybe you could set it up so that there's a room with some type of linoleum on the floor. Yes.
Billy, let me back you up just a little bit. On the prostate cancer issue, the
Yeah.
doctors, they all want to do a biopsy. That's right off the top.
Yeah.
Now,
That's the
back it
standard
up-
of care.
Yeah.
Back up.
A lot of people want to do
But
colonoscopies too. and I
backing
think-
up from that,
Yeah.
the second choice is to watch it with a PSA every 6 months.
Yeah, that's easier.
But how long do you watch it? Let's say you start out with like 2.5 PSA, and now it's up to 5. How long are you going to watch it? Till it gets 6, 8, 10, 20, or
Well,
you're
you
dead?
already know it's an issue. What's a biopsy going to do? You know.
Well,
Here's the
okay.
deal. Let's
When it
talk
gets to a
about it.
point, though,
I'll
you
talk
gotta
about
take
it
it
when we
out.
get done. We'll talk about it. You and I can sit down and talk about it. Okay. There's a lot of things I know you could do better. Okay. There's a lot of things like Colonex is another thing. I love that stuff. Okay. So it's just a colon cleanse. All right. There's probably some stuff in there I shouldn't eat, but it works. The air doctor. You're gonna breathe clean air in your house. I mean, I got one in my room. It's also my white noise. Then you're gonna have clean water, like clean water.
Best water.
What's that?
It's the best water.
It is the best
I
water.
love that water.
I mean, I don't get it.
I don't either.
It's like people will spend all kinds of money on crap, and they like buying. Like if you can't afford that, then at least get the shower head.
Mm-hmm.
And getting underwater drinking is like, I mean, I don't get. The other thing is like I look at your spines. I can always tell the people that don't drink water, always, because they have uniform thinning of all their discs. Because if you had one disc that was compressed, that's usually a focal like trauma there that happened at that level and it's been subluxated and it causes the pressure on that disc. But when you have, like I look at you and all your discs are thin and you're shorter than you used to be, it's because you have usually dehydration issue. And I would guarantee you 50% of the people in the world do not drink enough water. And according to Dr. Bhatnamaji, 50% of diseases, not people aren't sick, they're just dehydrated. Everything from depression to osteoporosis to spinal decay to cognitive issues to constipation, colon cancer, everything. So I mean, if you just drank more healthy water, we could change the world, the health of the world by probably 50% of the people out there. Okay, next, and then meditation, which I am horrible at meditation. I've been trying to focus on the end of my nose, so I don't think about it. You know what I'm talking about? I just like, okay, it's right there. Don't think about that. No, stop thinking about that. It's just so hard for me. But that's why the breath work for me really kind of trains